I'm Brooke Ashly, and this is The Bad Ones presents The New Renaissance. Today, we speak with Bitcoin and Black America author Isiah Jackson on Bitcoin, the new way to financial freedom. Bitcoin in Black America was doing exceptional, number 2 on Amazon. Mentioned by Forbes magazine online, mentioned in Vogue online, mentioned by Twitter owner creator Jack Dorsey. So it's up from here. Where do you want to go next? What's your next move?
Oh, well, the next move, and this is sort of an exclusive, is I have a second book coming out this year. And I just wanted to take all of the concepts that were in the first book, either take it up a notch or come up with new solutions so that people can see a more well-rounded view of how Bitcoin and cryptocurrency can change our life. There's a lot that has changed since I wrote the book. In 2020 alone, you could write a book just on 2020. But as far as in the Bitcoin industry, that's the next step. And more press is okay, but I want to be able to reach people and touch them. COVID going on right now, I can't really get out, but the book tour is definitely is planned for as soon as I can get out and meet people. So those are the two biggest things right now. Second book coming and another book tour.
Okay, and then you mentioned something, an exclusive. There's a blackout coming forward in August?
Yes, so many people don't realize it, but there's a going around in social media, August 11th, there's something called a Black Bitcoin buyout. So what's being asked is that every black person buy at least $5 worth of Bitcoin on August 11th. At the same time, either through Cash App or through an exchange, just to show that a transfer of wealth of millions at a time, we can do it daily. Just a transfer of wealth, it'll sort of show the leverage we have with our spending power. Like if we exit this system completely, what exactly would the United States do? And that would give us more leverage than, marching, in my opinion.
Okay, so how does the average Black American educate themselves on cryptocurrency, on Bitcoin? Like what's the first step?
Well, first step would be buy the book, Bitcoin in Black America. But also, when I first started, there wasn't many resources, but now you could just Google Bitcoin. There's 1,000 different websites that describe it. I would say the best place to start is YouTube. There's a lot of good YouTube videos that can show you. It's very quick. We have our own show, The Gentleman of Crypto, which is daily at 10 a.m. Pacific time, so you can watch us there. Also, you can check out other shows by other black people. Crypto and Culture is a good one. Crypto Blood, they're all great as far as describing how to use Bitcoin, different news updates, and how you can progress in this industry.
You were dope. Use your platform. Put others on. That's right.
Always, yeah.
Crabs in this barrel.
Nah, not at all.
Okay, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
So what was it like when you got the call from Forbes and they wanted that interview?
Well, it was a dream come true. I've been thinking about that since I was 10. 10 years old, I first saw Forbes magazine. It was like the top 100 list, and I was like, I want to be on it, but I just want to have an article in there at least, just to say I was in Forbes. And when I got the call, it came on the tail end of a lot of the George Floyd, after he died, and a lot of the protests that came. It came at the tail end of some of the protests. So I was like, well, I probably only got this interview because they're just interviewing black people just because, but it's a start. And I feel like I'll be in Forbes again, but it was a dream come true. Shout out to Jason Brett, who did it. And, we did the interview just sort of on the fly. He just asked me, could we talk? And then when we started talking, he said, if you want to do the interview, we can do it right now. And I was like, all right, let's do it. So it was great to see, and I'm glad a lot of people got to read it. I reached a lot of people with that one, so just glad.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So let's say I want to get involved. I want to buy some Bitcoin. Like, what is one Bitcoin equivalent to? How much is that worth?
Oh yeah, so currently one Bitcoin is a little over $9,000. Fortunately, you do not have to buy a whole Bitcoin. I know a lot of people ask that question. They feel like, hey, I don't have $9,000 to just buy a Bitcoin right now. Is this only for rich people? No. You can buy $5 worth, $10 worth. And, if you think about money, for example, $1, it's divisible. You can either have 4 quarters, you can have 10 dimes, you can have 20 nickels, 100 pennies, whatever. Bitcoin is like that in the fact that it's divisible up to 8 decimal places. So you can have, for example, 1 Bitcoin is $9,000. So 0.1 Bitcoin would be 900, 0.01 Bitcoin would be $90, and so on and so forth. So even if you're not good at math, the good thing about Bitcoin is when you buy it in a wallet, it does the math for you. So you don't have to calculate in your head decimals and all. All of that stuff is done for you in the same way that any ledger that you use with a bank. When you buy stuff, you don't have to, in your mind, think, oh, minus how much I use. It does it for you. So that's the good part about it. It's not a rich man's game. Anybody can get involved. And going forward, because of the supply of Bitcoin being scarce, a small amount now could mean a lot more later.
How do banks respect Bitcoin right now? What's their view on it? How do they feel about it?
Well, banks are liars because I learned about Bitcoin from a banker.
That's a big statement. Okay.
Bankers are mostly liars. In the media, they'll tell you, Bitcoin is bad, it's a scam, you shouldn't use it, while simultaneously creating their own cryptocurrency, like JP Morgan created their own cryptocurrency, or they use their money to purchase on-ramps, which by that I mean places where you can purchase Bitcoin. You have Goldman Sachs, who bought Circle, which is a platform to buy Bitcoin, and then they ended up buying Poloniex, which is a place to buy other cryptocurrencies. So even if they won't purchase it directly, or if they say in the media they don't accept it, they're going to buy all of the businesses that have anything to do with Bitcoin if they can, because they still want to make money off of it and they know it's viable. And I'll just tell you this, I'm friends with a lot of bankers. I spoke to a former CTO of a large bank, and his life revolves around Bitcoin. He left the bank to get into Bitcoin. A lot of bankers are doing that. A lot of people on Wall Street, a lot of private investors are starting to see the value of Bitcoin as an industry. So if you watch the news and you see some bank or some banker like Jamie Dimon or whoever talking about Bitcoin, they're lying. They just want to keep it out of your hands.
So they want to actively give you misinformation.
They've been doing it for years. Been doing it for years.
Exactly. Because it would have that much of a pivotal impact on Black America and us coming together.
Oh yeah, they need your deposits. They can't operate. And let's just get into it a little bit more so people understand what I'm saying when I say banks are liars. For one, the number you see in your bank account doesn't exist. It's just digital. They have been running what's called fractional reserve banking for years, meaning in their bank, they only have to have 3% of the money they claim they have in cash. So if everybody showed up at the bank and wanted cash, they wouldn't even have it. The problem is after COVID started, that number is down to 0%. They don't have to have any cash in the bank at all. And if you've been to a bank lately, we have a coin shortage. How the hell does that happen? And then you're the bank and you don't have any money. That doesn't make any sense. They're liars. They have money. They can print it when they want to.
And it's affecting businesses, the ripples.
Exactly.
You can go into Ralph's right now. I went in there and they only accept exact change or card.
Exactly. And which is fake scarcity. They can print they can make whatever they want. They just printed $5 trillion out of thin air during this whole crisis. Problem is they have fake scarcity. They want to make it seem like it's hard to get so that it drives the value of it up so that people want to use it. Bitcoin has real scarcity. It's provably scarce. There's only 21 billion Bitcoins that's ever going to be made. So because it's scarce and demand is rising, ultimately price increases, and a lot of the industries that the banks support, stock markets, commodities, all that stuff, in my opinion, will fail long term because it's propped up by fake money. So
how do you feel about, this is kind of a tangent, but how do you feel about a lot of big corporations moving more into AI and getting away from like the average everyday worker?
Well, I could see this coming for a while. Artificial intelligence will take a lot of jobs. The thing to do at this point is to be able to either create the artificial intelligence or to manage the systems that use it. That's going to be huge industries. And I would encourage anybody to get into tech. You don't have to be a coder. You don't have to be a developer. You can do project management. You can do front end, artwork. Anything that you can do in tech, I would encourage it. But as far as artificial intelligence specifically, I feel like some of it is being forced onto different places. Like if you go to a McDonald's, you have the things now where it's like 2 people working and you can order it yourself. That's a part of it. We've had grocery stores where you can check yourself out, coming over the years. It's just taking away jobs from average Americans, and I think they're going to have to get into tech.
Walmart where there's only going to be one like human checker, and then the rest of them are going to be like the checkout lines, and it's an experiment to see if it's successful. I'm sure they're trying to see like how much loss, because I'm sure there will be some
loss prevention is going to be
right.
Yeah, that's
so
going to be the hard
no
one.
more checkers. They're all going to be like the muscles and then the yellow vests who tackle you and check your receipt. That's where the money's at now.
Exactly. Yeah, it's going to be. Amazon, I've heard, has the same thing. Contactless. You go in, you grab it, you walk out. It debits it from your card or from wherever. So all of this tech that's coming, you need a payment system that uses this tech, because credit cards and cash and checks was never meant to be on the internet. And Bitcoin is, sort of called the internet of money. So at a certain point, artificial intelligence, they will get paid in cryptocurrency at a certain point. So even though humans use it 20, 30 years from now, they'll be getting paid in cryptocurrency too. So this is way bigger than people can imagine.
So it's not going to be that difficult to transition, going from like the dollar essentially, because we're already there. You know what I mean? It's more about it reaching the masses.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We're already using digital payments. PayPal, Venmo, Stripe, these are all just the first step towards what's coming in the future, because they're still centralized. They can still stop your payments. They can still shut down your account. Nobody can shut down your Bitcoin. Nobody can take it from you. So that is the advantage, I think, going forward. But yeah, we're already there. We've been using digital payments so long now, people don't realize it. But yeah, most people don't have cash or checks walking around.
How long do you think before this is like an everyday thing?
I'd say 10 years.
Okay.
Only reason I say it would take that long is because of the regulatory and bureaucratic bodies of the U.S. However, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is international. Other countries are moving fast. Japan, China, Korea, they always move faster than us tech-wise, and they already have that. In African countries like Kenya, Ghana, they're already passing the U.S. In the amount of volume that they have, because our regulators, people who are in the government, they want to keep their jobs. They need something to regulate. Even though Bitcoin was not created by a government, you don't own it, they still try. So it's going to take a little longer. It would probably be 2 or 3 years if they just let people build and go from there, but I'd say 10.
Do you feel any pressure now that you have a level of respect and a platform to like act a certain way?
No, never, because I did it my way. I did it independently. I don't work for anybody. If I had an overseer at some point, maybe, but I built it myself. I don't need anybody else's money. I don't need anybody else's approval. It's one of those things that it took a little longer, but that's the reason I went the approach that I did, because I can do what I want. I can say what I want. I can approach different projects, different time periods when I feel like it. So, no, I don't really feel any extra pressure to speak different or talk different around people or dress different. I am who I am.
I bring that up just because of cancel culture, and specifically recently Nick Cannon said something that was like considered anti-Semitic to quite a few people, and he was stripped of his show, like his contracts. The network dropped him altogether. So I was just wondering, like, do you feel, like cancel culture is like, are you worried about anything affecting you?
Nah, I mean, cancel culture to me is kind of a farce. Him being fired by them wasn't a part of cancel culture per se, because it kind of comes from online. But I mean, if you look at cancel culture, every time somebody gets canceled, they make more money. I can't wait till I get canceled. Please cancel me, because whatever I said must have hit the heartstrings to the point where it's like, oh, we can't have him speaking too much truth. So, I mean, at some point it may happen, but what are you going to cancel? I mean, I don't work for anybody. I'm not a part of any. That's why I'm glad I'm not in the entertainment industry. They're under the thumb of people who don't allow them to speak how they want. Because I can guarantee you right now, a lot of them know about Bitcoin, but they won't say it out loud because they tell them not to, because that will undermine the business they work for. So as far as cancel culture, I'm not worried at all. What are you going to cancel? I mean, if I lost everything today, I've been poor longer than I've been rich. I know how to do that just fine and work my way back up. I got family, I got friends that know who I really am. I don't need anybody. I'm pretty solid on that. So yeah, cancel culture it is what it is, but it's mostly online. It don't really affect me.
Have you seen people in your personal experience, you've really helped them with the whole Bitcoin thing and educated them? You've seen their lives change from the little jewels that you've dropped and that kind of thing?
Oh yeah, I like to say I've brought more black people to Bitcoin than anybody in the world. I might have to get some data to back that up, but I'm pretty sure I'm close. If it's not me, I'm pretty close. But yeah, I would like to shout out my friend Justin Riedrich. We were friends when we were younger, lost contact, and then when we got back in contact, he actually got in some trouble. He was actually a felon, and he was looking for a way to actually, work his way back up. told him about Bitcoin. We had a long ride around Charlotte, probably like 2 or 3 hours. And from that point, he took it and ran. Bitcoin and Ethereum. He learned about it, purchased it, learned how to trade, learned how to mine. Started his own company called Bitcoin Vegan, which he runs now. And he also is a memory and mindset coach. So he has 2 businesses in 4 years using Bitcoin and also the information he learned from me. And I'm like extremely proud of him because, like I said, a lot of black people or a lot of people in our community have gotten felonies. Whether they should have gotten it or not, that's not my concern. The felony part of it just obstructs you from certain parts of society.
Obstructs you from your opportunities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the only reason that is because I think, in my opinion, especially in the black community, the drug dealer part of the felonies, they're great businessmen. They were just selling the wrong product. And then, of course, you got the 100-to-1 crack versus cocaine sentencing. A lot of them shouldn't even been in jail that long. So when they get out, they have the business sense. And you introduce something like Bitcoin to them where they can't be stopped. To me, that scares a lot of people because I'm like, well, what if they don't need this bank anymore? What if they don't need to get a job from you anymore?
Exactly. If they did all that with their block and these 3-4 people working for them, and they were able to create an empire,
Yep.
you know what I mean, and save their communities or just hustle their communities, but kept it going, you know, that's a businessman.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's a CEO.
And you can start right now. I mean, that's the good thing about Bitcoin. If you start a business and you go to a bank for a loan, probably not going to happen. If you work with crypto, you can download a wallet instantly. And then if you make money through your business earning crypto, you can actually use crypto lending services as collateral to get cash loans. So you don't even have to use a bank anymore at all. So what that does is it opens up the world of finance to people who didn't have it before. And unfortunately for the banks and some of these private institutions, they're going to have to realize there's way more people who would rather not use them. They just didn't have a solution. Now there is.
So with everything going on right now and the riots and everything, you recently said that Bitcoin and blacks using Bitcoin is a peaceful protest. That was so deep. I loved that. Can you go more into that? Can you explain that a little more?
Absolutely. So there's 2 ways to approach a bully, which is who I basically think police and some of the government agencies are. You can either use money or violence. And violence, in my opinion, doesn't get much done unless you have a standing army, which, of course, our community doesn't. So you have to attack the money aspect of it. So as a protest, if we slowly, as a community, move our money out of the banking system, out of their savings accounts, out of their money market accounts that only get you 7%, you know, the stuff that they basically manipulate, slowly move it out. You don't even have to leave your house. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to do anything. You just take your money, put it in Bitcoin, slowly but surely. The transfer of wealth from fiat currency or the dollar into Bitcoin is a peaceful protest because you're showing them like, look, we will leave your system if it doesn't work for us. And for the most part, it hasn't. It's been 106 years since the Federal Reserve has started. The value of the dollar has gone down 99%. How much further down can it go? We're almost there. And if you haven't noticed, a lot of cashless places around LA, around America in general, it's almost gone completely. So as a protest, you have to start now. And I think going forward, the best protest is with your money, not shopping with people. I mean, if you notice the virtue signaling that happened after George Floyd and after the protest started, these companies, they don't really give a shit about black people. They just didn't want to lose money. And if you understand how important that is, Starbucks flip-flopped like 3 times. They were like, no, you can't have Black Lives t-shirts. Oh, well, now you can because nobody's going to come. You know what I mean? Like, they don't.
Right when the riots were kind of right when it was hitting Pride Month,
Yeah.
and you could tell they didn't know whether they were going to support minorities and go the Black Lives Matters route, or if they were going to go and support like their gay customers. And you know, clearly this is a Pride Month is every year, so they had marketing, different products already made, ready, and they just slapped a Black Lives Matters on top of a rainbow, and they were like, fuck it, we got it.
Yeah, we got it. It's this is for everybody.
Right?
It's like,
oh, all lives, well, we can't say that, but we can say all trans, or all black trans lives.
I'm gonna tell you like this.
Pride
Hey
Month.
man, all these slogans is corny to me, honestly, because they're
I
all
don't think it's
marketing.
corny. I think
No.
we do need representation.
Let me clarify that. The slogan attached with the organization is corny because it's not black owned at all. Black Lives Matter, the statement is true. Black Lives Matter, the organization, yes. And a lot of black organizations are not black. NAACP, started by white people. Urban League, white people. I mean, it goes down the list. They're not black organizations. Now they're black faces that are in front of it, but I want people to realize that going forward, we need our own stuff. And the only way to do that is to have your own money. And that's why I'm so adamant about this. But yeah, I mean, all of the back and forth about blue lives and all lives and green lives, just yelling it out loud is marketing for them, for their organization. But I'm more of the system that I don't need to explain to you that my life should matter. It just does. And if you don't believe me, I'll show you. But other than that, we shouldn't be appealing to the moral authority of people who don't really care about us. We shouldn't be asking, like, please make our life matter. Like, please give us civil rights. Please give us human or like no.
Please recognize all.
No.
Equality.
I'm not from that school. My family didn't raise. I'll take that shit if I have to, and that's the path I've been on since I was a kid. And I hope more people start to think like that and stop asking, please, can you give us this? Please, can you stop? You might have to start shooting back, or you might have to start taking your money elsewhere. It's a risk and it's a sacrifice, but it's worth it long term.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you a random, but I feel like it's a good question. Reparations. If you were rewarded that, would you want that in the dollar or in Bitcoin?
I would prefer Bitcoin, but either one is fine because you can convert it. And also reparations, I feel like are deserved, definitely, by our community. They've given reparations
Some
to
state just
every.
approved it, like 100%.
North Carolina approved it in Asheville.
Oh.
And unfortunately, it was kind of watered down reparations. What they're going to do is they're going to put money into communities that were undeserved, which at least they're doing it now, but they could have did it before.
Yeah.
Just change the budget.
Yeah.
They did that on purpose to lower the property tax of that zip code to make it seem as though that community couldn't prosper. And, hopefully they can, change that, but that is good. That's a good start. And I think reparations in Bitcoin is taking it instead of asking for it, because if you can purchase an asset or if you can accept an asset that will be more valuable in the future, you're giving yourself reparations to an extent. The money that is taken from your pocket from the overseers, so to say, or Federal Reserve, if they put that money into Bitcoin while you have it, and we have $1 trillion market someday, you just gave yourself reparations long term. So, Bitcoin as reparations, I'll go deeper into that in the second book. But definitely a topic I love to discuss.
Do you see it happening nationally? Reparations? Does that look possible?
Nah. Not nationally. I think it'll have to be a local push, and it'll have to be, people within that community pushing for the budget to change. Because honestly, most people in America spend 85% of their life within 5 miles of where they live. So if you can get your local community together, that's actually better. Because nationally, what can you really do? What can I do for people in Baltimore from here? But if everything around me in LA is good, and then everything around them is good, and they take care of it, then we're all good. We pull each other up by decentralizing our fight, so to say. So I would rather see that, and then locally you can really get on their ass because it's the mayor. They're right there. The city council's right there. They live in your city. Nationally, you can't do nothing with Trump. That's kind of low hanging fruit. What are you gonna say? Oh man, fuck Trump. Well, he hears that all the time. It's not really gonna do anything. But if you can write letters, show up at city council meetings, approach your alderman, all of these things locally, I think that'll work better, and then reparations could come easier.